Well, greetings, mortals. It is I, Eldred Woolsbane, the unofficial wizard of the OSR, and also I'm an FKR guy as well. Not gonna say it in the first few seconds of the video because, they'll demonetize it if I ever make enough hits on this. But what is the point of this video? Well, it is to showcase once again my graphic novel Freeform SUPERS role-playing game. Version X, February 2025. I've updated it once again. It prints out into a nice little fold-over zine if you so choose. There are also some downloads of an over 30 to 40 year old superhero campaign that used some other rules. My Heroes Mags rules, which, this is quicker, faster, simpler. How was it that I came about with graphic novels Freeform SUPERS role-playing game? Well, let me tell you. I had put my game on the back burner and had bought the big famous Mutants and Masterminds role-playing game. On paper, it is perfection. It is superheroes. It's great. But as me and some friends were playing it, and we're just rolling a d20, I began to remember my old system, the novel RPG system, which was simply a 20-sided dice. And it used a chart, just the 20-sided chart part. And you just said what you did, and you rolled a d20. And the system that you rolled was actually outside the story. So for instance, the example I always give is you have a man in a wheelchair and a 16-year-old gymnast. They're both going to attempt to do a flip, a double, triple somersault flip. They both roll a 16, 17, which would be a very good on the roll. Well, you have to interpret that roll. The guy in the wheelchair maybe spins his chair around. The acrobatic girl will flip. It is the results of the rolls are done by the how high you roll. The other method is the difficulty. For instance, for him, the difficulty would be an impossible or nearly impossible, or I'd just say couldn't do it at all, while the girl that is a trained acrobat would be extremely easy, if not automatic, if there's nobody attacking her. So we look here at the chart, and I also expanded it to not just a d20, maybe a 2d6, the old FKR style, or a 1d100. And then I made target numbers for those as well. So anyway, this is basically the entirety of the rule system except for the destiny points. For instance, if you roll a really terrible roll, and starting 4-color superheroes start off with 10, in Dungeon Punk they start off with 5. Normal people have 0 to 3 of those. But anyway, so most 4-color characters have 10. They also use destiny points not just to re-roll, but also to mitigate damage. I didn't totally make it concrete clear in the rules, but the levels of damage of just unharmed, just a scratch, severe injury, very serious injury, it said, levels of injury would also work upon the levels of success. Like, and if you're attacking someone that's unimportant, you just roll and see how it goes. Or if you're in combat. Also, when you're trying to do something, the bad, very bad, extremely bad disaster could be also 4 levels of injury as well. So in combat, people can roll against each other. One can just roll themselves, or you can do a difficulty, however you want to do it. But characters can mitigate damage by spending destiny points. But unlike most role-playing games, when you want to make a character, forget all you know about attributes, scores, skill points, anything else you've learned from other RPGs. You just basically either pick or roll. Let's go back to the back right here. We've got 100 different superhero concepts. For instance, if you roll a 33, you're a drainer. You have the ability to drain other heroes' powers for a short time and use them. While, for instance, a 71 would be a ninja, you know. So what separates just these words and these descriptions is the destiny points, the dice rolls. For instance, if you are something like a phase, have the power of phaser, you know, you can become incorporeal and phase through solid objects. You're able to damage things from inside out. You can't use your destiny points to do anything but phasing and such, or backgrounds and skills that you know from your character background that you come up with. Like, for instance, you couldn't be a phaser and then spend the destiny point to do a fireball. You know, so anyway, the destiny is extremely useful but limited in the concept or cliche of your character's power. Now, you can get very clever with that. That's why blind dead dice rolls, the novel system originally had that. The destiny points limit that super powerful, over powerful character that people can come up with a freeform. It's that in the dice roll, you know. Also have advantage, disadvantage, and such like things like that. So basically what you do is you write a character instead of rolling it up. There's 4 color with 10 destiny points. Teen Supers, that's your 5 destiny points. That can be a really fun game. Some of the original playtesting with this, I played with my daughters. They were middle school students in a superhero world, and it was fantastic. They, unlike most gamers, didn't have the background of playing a lot of role-playing games, so it just naturally fit the imagination of being a teenager and a preteen in a middle school with popular, unpopular kids and things of the sort. But superpowers were added. Then there's street level, which you only start with 3 destiny points. And then there's the epic, which are 20 destiny points. So first of all, or second, you roll for a concept. You can roll D100 3 times and pick one of those 3. That usually stops everybody from picking like, you know, the power players, and I just want to pick a god, you know, or something like that. You're still limited to your 10 destiny points and 4 colors, but for instance, if you are a brute, something like the Hulk, you know, and you have armored skin, most bullets by default won't hurt you, you know. Things that can hurt you, though, you're still going to spend, you can be injured by it, but you can spend destiny points to mitigate the effect of that injury on you. You're still injured, you just are still moving around by sheer destiny and will. You want to third elaborate on the character's concept. A few guidelines to the character concept, if they're above or below average. Don't just waste your time describing that. You know, describe how resistant you are to damage and harm. You might be so tough they can't hurt you. How strong are you compared to an average human? How's your agility and speed? All these things about the answers of your character cliche, the game master and you get together. So discuss the powers and abilities and such. You know, give descriptions as to your background. You weren't just a superhero, or maybe you just was, maybe you were raised as one. But go to the social status and wealth, your hobbies, what skills do you have, what do you do for a living. It could be pretty awesome when you're coming up, because this is a graphic novel, not just a comic book. 6 is mental and physical condition. Does your character have a bad back, terminally ill, afraid of the dark? You could come up with some really interesting stories there, or the game master can. You know, also this is where you track how much damage you've taken in combat by description. So 7 is possessions and wealth. Just kind of hand wave if your character's super rich or just an average Joe or whatever. Also beware of that power player that wants to rape the rules. And just remember, 8, these are guidelines of the rules. The point is just to have some fun here. I've got an example with Lizard Lad and Stone, 2 characters. Read over that. Then the Game Master section, doing things, it basically explains how to do FKR type rules under the graphic novel Freeform SUPERS system. It's an FKR system, so I did have to add initiative. You don't have to do that, but it's always good to have some kind of initiative. Somebody with super speed or something, they'd get advantage on the initiative roll and such, and maybe even spend destiny points. Always got ways to make them. One thing about the damage is you judge it from the weapon or the power used. For instance, a character that is a blaster that can blast energy is maybe just as strong as a normal person. So a guy with a machine gun could possibly gun him down. He would probably have to use some destiny to take cover or mitigate damage or do something. Maybe blow the building up above him or things like that. And the D20 roll that uses that is just from disaster to perfection, that is what you call a plot roll. Sometimes failures are not the failure of the character, the plot goes against the character. So, it's a failed roll is not always a failure. It could be the plot has changed against them. The effects of combat damage can be detailed descriptions of each body area injured, also up to a simple uninjured, scratch, beat up, injured, severely injured, incapacitated, and dying. One could take the levels of successes or failures on the comparative plot rolls as the injuries listed above, using destiny points to mitigate the damage and keep going. In other words, if you just have been shot in the guts with a shotgun, you're not a normal human. Most normal humans would be out of the action. Spend, just say, 3 or 4 destiny points, and you can, hold your guts in and keep fighting. Very comic booky, Now you get your destiny points 1 back every hour, so you have to be very sparing when using these if you're doing a lot of action. The Game Master decides how much damage or effect according to the power skill level described. For instance, a character with a pistol probably won't do much against a guy in a battle suit, but he might with a rocket launcher. So, most destiny points allow one to reroll as a result or avoid damage. Let the player come up with a good story how they survived. Without any destiny, the character's life is totally in the roll of the dice. So once you run out of destiny points, it's the dice rolls that control things. Now I have normals, minions, and goons. Those are very simple. Just, normal people, we roll a 1d20, and that's how many are knocked out or fallen in a single round. Normal people are just, when their supers around, they're literally, even mere 4 colors can take a lot of normal people out, in one round or one small amount of time. Minions are weak bad guys. Some of them may have powers or devices and things. You could use a difficulty of 5, just roll a 5 or more to knock them out. Or, they may have destiny, You can use a difficulty number or just, play it out. The thing about an FKR game is you want to try to make the story really awesome. It's a graphic novel, not just a comic book. Here's an example of super combat. Equipment. I don't really have a detailed equipment list because you can't put details of all the equipment in the entire world. Experience. So you start off with 10 destiny. After 10 or so sessions, you get an extra destiny point. Now you may get 1 or 2 extra here and there. And then here's advice on how to run a graphic novel role-playing game. So I also have a little venture concepts. And then the back of the book is the hero concepts. And here's a nice little character sheet. And this game is only $4 or less on Drive-Thru RPG. So, anyway, if you want a superhero game that can have super fast action like the Avengers movie did, you know, like remember that part where Captain America's fighting the world's greatest martial artist, whatever the hell his name is, on that ship. You know, you can have stuff like that. You can have stuff like buildings being blown up, like the scenes that were in Aquaman when, you know, him and those other Atlanteans were fighting each other. How awesome it was, you know. The old Superman movie where buses were flying around and stuff like that, and buildings being leveled. Uh, you know, um, just remember though, you know, like a real world thing, if you have these heroes as they're fighting, leveling everything, there'll be consequences. There'll be maybe the government registered superheroes. Also, I have like a few of my, like I said, my old campaign setting. Those are all free, but you can also get and download. Not politically correct in this modern world, so. But anyway, this is Eldred Wolfsbane, unofficial wizard of the OSR, also a fucker, an FKR guy. Just have some good times and get graphic novel Freeform Supers role-playing game if you know it's good for you. Alright, bye.